up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dane Cannon. Co-hosting with me today is
your boy, Jake Mother Effin' Bowles on the mic 1-2, baby.
And guys, we got a good one for you again today. We are doing this. We're continuing with the trend. We're going to do a 3-in-1 episode. It just makes our lives a little bit easier during the holiday season. We'll see if we can. We'll see what the future holds for the way that we do our layouts and the way that we go about recording. I know that these episodes are a little bit longer, so we do apologize in advance. But guys, today we're going to be going over Week 14 recap, Week 15 power rankings, and Week 15 predictions. So guys, stay tuned. Follow us on our Instagram here. Like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. Anything you can and do to help the podcast grow, we'd greatly appreciate. Jake, you have anything to add before we get going?
Pretty wild week of football, man.
Yeah,
lot of upsets.
A lot of upsets.
Yeah. Man, I think, again, I said this last week. I think the really good teams are really solidifying themselves. I think there's like a clear cut of at least the top team, and then maybe like the next two are like clear cut, like, and then other than that, it's a crapshoot. Yeah, but I'm excited to get into it. Yeah, I guess we'll start with the first game of the week. Thursday night.
Upset.
Yeah, another upset. We did not pick them. But the Patriots beat the Steelers. Congratulations, Patriots. It was 21-18. They went up a quick 21 points and
didn't score after that. And then Pittsburgh fell short in the second half. I mean, they made it interesting. They started coming close. Mitch Trubisky had a rocky start, couple interceptions. Then he started throwing the ball a little bit better, a couple good touchdown passes. Ezekiel Elliott on the side of New England, I think, was the star of that team. You know, he was getting it going on the ground. And, you know, what's his name?
Hunter Henry, baby. Two touchdowns.
Hunter Henry. Why am I blanking on the QB's name? I never talk about
Bailey Zappi.
Zappi, that's who it is. Zappi actually had himself a pretty decent game in the first half, and then it kind of slowed down. But Patriots defense held tough. It was interesting. The first half kind of looked like the Patriots of before. Like, you know, they looked good. And then it just slowed down. But, you know, overall, good win for New England. The Steelers are just tough to watch, man. Like, even when they do win, it's just like dragging you along. It's just boring. Like, even with the firing of Matt Canada, it just has not looked pretty. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is why I went on my little rant last week about the Steelers. I can't stand watching them. I mean, I love defensive football, but it's like I also love defensive football when the team can actually score. Or looks good scoring, and they suck on offense, man. I'm not even going to say this entire team sucks. They have a great coach, and they have a good defense. Didn't look like it for the first quarter, but, you know, they tightened things up and really made it a game, but just fell short. Patriots, you know, they get their third win, kind of move further away from securing Caleb Williams. In my opinion, though, I mean, I know Drake May's coming out there, but in my opinion, if I'm the Patriots, I'm doing everything I can to trade for that number one. I think they have a good enough defense where they can get where they can kind of turn their fortunes around with a good quarterback. So that's just my opinion. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I definitely think they need some help with the receiving core as well. I don't think Demario Douglas is going to be enough to get it done. Hunter Henry had himself a decent game, but, you know, you need help with, even if you got Caleb Williams, who I think is a great football player. He's still going to make mistakes. He's still a rookie, but he can do a lot of stuff out of pocket, but he needs weapons to throw to. Like, so
yeah,
I like
that's true.
Tyquan Thornton, but he's fast, but I think that their team is just a bunch of number 2 receivers, 2 and 3s. I don't think they have a dominant number 1 X receiver.
I agree. All right, next game. We differed on this, but I picked the Bucks. Dan picked the Falcons. Bucks ended up winning 29-25, and the Bucks were winning pretty much the whole game. Falcons came back, took the lead, and then Baker Mayfield led a beautiful comeback to win the game. And this is what I kind of been liking about the Bucks the whole year. Like, they've never looked bad. Like, they've looked okay at times, or like they've kind of been finding ways to lose these games. I like the Bucks team. They're in first place now in that division. All of the, you're not even gonna talk about the Panthers, but all three of the other teams are all tied. But the Bucks have the the number one spot, and the way the Saints play, I could see it's gonna be a tight race.
Well, yeah, I mean, all three of them have a 6-7 record, and the Bucks just have the tiebreaker right now.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So I mean, there's just a lot of weapons on that team. Rachaad White is an animal. Mike Evans, he didn't have that great of a game. He didn't have a really great game at all. But Rachaad White is a beast. I love good running backs, and Baker Mayfield, man, he's found a home. It's nice for him. I'm kind of glad because, I mean, you're a number one overall pick. You've been shopped around. I mean,
and now it's like he's resurrecting his career. So I think that you can definitely build around Baker because he's showing that he's going to give it his all, and he's playing really well. So I think you build around him, and you could have a playoff caliber team again. I mean, they might make playoffs this year. We'll see. I don't think they would do anything because they have a losing record. So does everyone else in the NFC South, but still, can make some noise.
I mean, out of those three teams, who's the least one you would want to play? If your team was playing one of them,
it would either be Tampa or Atlanta. I'm really starting to drop my stock on New Orleans. I'm really not feeling them anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
So yeah, it's close. I mean, they showed that either one of these teams could have won. I think it's kind of like whoever had the ball last, which is kind of like the case that happened in this game. Because, Desmond Ridder ended up, he had a couple turnover-worthy plays, had a turnover, but, he also showed that he could drive the ball down the field. Drake London, dude, is balling out. Drake London had probably his best game of his career. Kyle Pitts got utilized. So it was interesting, man. It was an overall good game, and it was a competitive matchup. So I was impressed with both sides with both teams in this matchup, honestly.
Yeah, so was I. I mean, Desmond Ridder has been playing better. He still throws the dumb play every once in a while, but his running ability, he's been throwing it to his receivers. I think they're kind of opening up the offense a little bit more for him behind, Bijan Robinson. They're giving him the ball more. So I do like the Falcons also, and their defense. Their defense is tough, man. So, yeah, man, it's going to be a close race. But, yeah, the Bucks got the win, and now they're all tied. So let's move on to the next one. We did not pick this game correctly. Actually, Dane did. I did not. Cincinnati Bengals beat the Colts. Yeah, they cream pied the Colts 34-14. Jake Browning, man. This is kind of what I thought would happen a couple weeks ago. He kind of had that bad game after Joe Burrow got hurt. But, these last two games, he's looked really solid. And I think it's a credit to all the weapons he has, the coaching, the pretty decent defense they have, and he's kind of playing like he has nothing to lose. So, but everything to gain. I mean, I don't know if he's a free agent next year, but another team could see this and be like, "Oh, I want him as a quarterback." So
even if it's a backup, he's definitely he can start in the NFL like as a backup quarterback. I don't think that he's necessarily a player that's going to I mean, he's won 2 of his first 3 starts, so let's give him credit. But I do still have my concerns about accuracy, ball placement, decision making. There are some times when he puts the ball in harm's way pretty consistently, and he's gotten lucky with some of the tip passes that his receivers have come down with. But they're winning. I think the defense is balling out. Joe Mixon's getting it done on the ground. Even when Jamar Chase, he didn't really do much this game at all, but Chase Brown kind of came out of nowhere to help Joe Mixon out.
That's what I wanted to add. Chase Brown looked dangerous.
Yeah, and I think that's the brother of Sidney Brown, who was drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep. And we both liked him coming out of the draft. We liked him as the pickup for the Bengals. And, yeah, man, I hope they use him more because, I like Joe Mixon, but breakaway speed is breakaway speed, and
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely a change of pace. So I liked what the Bengals did with him, and good win for the Bengals, man. They are right there in the playoff race. So are the Colts. There's a shit ton of teams that are 7-6 or 6-7. So the AFC playoff race is gonna be nuts in these coming up weeks. But good win for the Bengals.
Yep, agreed.
Let's move on. I think we differed on this one as well.
We differed. I think this is the most we've ever differed on a week.
Yes. Okay. So we did differ on this one. Dane picked the Browns. I picked the Jags, and this was before I picked them to win. The Jags to win before Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence ended up playing, and the Browns won, man. And the Browns,
Joe Flacco, man. Joe Flacco looks pretty damn good.
Joe Flacco and that defense. I mean, Joe Flacco is, he's a former. Is he an MVP? I forget if he's ever got the MVP. I don't think he did. But he's a former Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl winner, and he looked really good. And that Browns defense, man, they made Trevor Lawrence.
I think Trevor Lawrence came back a little too quick. I think he should have at least taken a week off, let his ankle rest up a little bit. He did not look right this game. I mean, he threw 3 interceptions. He did turn it around. I will say that, they definitely started coming back, and I think that that's good. He showed his toughness. He showed his grit, that he wants to play for the team. That's great and everything, but I definitely think he should be careful with playing too much, especially after a high ankle sprain. That's definitely something that you want to monitor with that. But, it was a good win for the Browns. Like you said, Joe Flacco came out firing. The run game got going. The defense balled out. It was just an overall tough battle. And, I think the Jags will be fine. I think Trevor Lawrence will continue to play. But I do have my question marks a little bit after a tough loss to the Cleveland Browns.
Yep. They went from, the number 1 seed for, a couple hours to, I think they're like the 5th seed now. I'm not sure. I would have to check that. But, good win for the Browns, man. Keeping their playoff hopes alive. I kind of, pulled the rug from underneath them a little too early. I think Joe Flacco gives them a good chance to win. I really do.
I think he gives them a better chance than Deshaun Watson. If I'm going to be honest.
PJ Walker.
He's looked
Dorian
better.
Thompson.
Yeah, he's looked better than all of them combined. Honestly, he looks like a better passer than Deshaun Watson was even when he was healthy.
Yeah.
So
I like it. Good win for the Browns. I'm just checking what the playoff standings are. I kind of want to see what the Jags are at.
I think the Jags are 4th seed. They're the
4th seed.
Yeah.
They're the 4th seed now. Browns are the 5th. So, yeah, man. That's super tight. I like it. Let's move on. This one did not see coming. We both went Texans. Boy, were we wrong.
Wow.
In our defense, lots of injuries for the Texans. Yeah. But the New York Jets cream pied the Texans 30-6. And Zach Wilson had his best game as a pro.
2 touchdown passes. 2.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what the best thing about this game was? He got it to his playmakers.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson.
Breece Hall,
he's your
Garrett Wilson.
Breece Hall. They're your best players on offense. Get it to them. They're going to make things happen. Good win for the Jets. Texans, on the other hand, Nico Collins went down early. So CJ Stroud was without Tank Dell. Nico, so he was rolling with Robert Woods, Mechie.
CJ Stroud ends up getting a concussion as well. So he's out. So Davis Mills.
I'm not going to take too much into this.
Plus, they were playing in
Texans.
the rain. They were playing in the rain also, inclement weather.
Yeah, I mean, Jets have a great defense. The Texans are injured, so I'm not going to read too much into it for the Texans. I just hope CJ Stroud can get back there because this team's different with him in it.
Oh, 100%.
But other than that, I really don't have much else to say.
Nope. It was just a good overall solid win for the Jets. It was good to see the offense actually make some plays. And I loved what I saw from Zach Wilson. I can't remember verbatim what the quote was, but he's like, well, I've already been benched before. So what else are they going to do? He's just playing fearless, which is how he should have been in the first place. You just got to go out there and play the game. can't let the outside noise get to you too much. And obviously it's going to have an impact to a certain degree, but I like the fact that he's just going out there and playing, and he looked pretty good. He was making some good passes. So good for Zach Wilson. I'm kind of happy for the guy.
Yeah, I am too. And you know what the best thing about this income is, other than the win? It builds his confidence. Maybe he turns his career around. I doubt he signs with the Jets next year, but maybe he's not going to be a starter anywhere else, I don't think. But maybe he gets a backup role and on a new team, better setting, changes his career around. Or
wouldn't be the first time someone's changed their career around.
Yep.
I mean, look at Alex Smith.
Oh yeah. I mean, Alex Smith had a couple good years with the Niners, and then and then he became I think it was all pro with the Chiefs. So yeah, it would not be the first time. All right, this next game I think was the game of the week. We picked them to win. They did by the hairs of their chinny chin chins. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Rams 37-31, and
this was a great game. This was a great game.
It was a great game. It had everything. Defense. Well, it really didn't have stops, a whole lot of stops, but turnovers, fumbles, forced fumbles.
Special teams came to play.
We'll get to that. We will get to that. Lamar Jackson, he had one of his best games of the season. Threw for 3 touchdowns. OBJ just lit it up. He threw it to three touchdowns to 3 different receivers. And then on the Rams side, Matthew Stafford lit it up too. Kyle Williams lit it up on the ground. Cooper Kupp, welcome back.
Puka Nacua also doing some incredible freaking things. My goodness.
Yep. And then it went to overtime. Or no, did it go to overtime?
It went to OT.
Oh, yeah.
Went to OT.
Yeah, it did. And I believe the Ravens got the ball first, didn't do anything with it. The Rams had a chance, didn't do anything with it, and they punted. And
it was like a 75-yard house call.
I honestly don't know how he stayed up. That was amazing. If you guys haven't watched the play, do yourself a favor and go watch the play. It was a thing of beauty.
Unless you're a Rams fan, then you obviously don't find it very beautiful. But it was a good return.
That's true. Sorry, Conan. But it was a beautiful play, and honestly, I think this says more about who do you think it says more about? You think it says the Rams are better than we think, or do you think the Ravens are a little worse than we think?
No, I think it's a testament to the Rams. I think we kind of discredited them at the beginning of the season and during the preseason because they got rid of a lot of their players, but they still had some pieces, and their rookies have really come to play. Like Puka Nacua is a highlight reel. Kyron Williams is a highlight reel. Byron Young on the defensive side of the ball, he's a highlight reel. Pairing him with Aaron Donald, it's good, man. And they're well coached. This was a tough out battle in Baltimore, mind you. This wasn't in LA. They didn't have the, sunny and 75 degrees. They were playing in the grit and the dirt and the mud and the rain. And they played well. Matthew Stafford was playing well. He put the ball where it needed to be. Tutu Atwell also got injured this game, I believe. So he was down after a little bit, but they were competitive, man. And the Ravens are a good team. And I think the Rams are a lot better than we give them credit. So it was a good job by the Rams, and, tough win for the Baltimore Ravens, but they got it done. So good win for them.
Yeah. Let's move on. This one was, I guess, I mean, the way this team has been playing, I guess it shouldn't have been too much of a shocker, but it's still pretty shocking. We did not pick them to win. The Bears beat the Lions 28-13, and it really wasn't. How do I say it? It wasn't a close game. I think the Bears dominated the Lions the entire game. They made that team look bad.
Yeah, my biggest concern right now is with the Lions O-line. This is supposed to be one of the most dominant O-lines in the league, which they started off the season that way. But since they played Green Bay, or since they played Chicago the first time, and then they went to Green Bay, it's kind of been up and down, and they got after Jared Goff. Like, this O-line has been giving up a lot of pressure recently. So I don't know if like Penei Sewell's got some kind of injury going on, or if their starting O-line just has a bunch of injuries going on. But Jared Goff has not looked great. The O-line hasn't looked tremendous. I mean, they've had a couple good run blocking sets, I would say, where they open up some really big holes for Jahmyr Gibbs or David Montgomery. But other than that, you know, on the other side of the ball as well, the defense is definitely taking a step back. Like, the defense started off hot this year, and it has really come back down to earth. Like, it is kind of looking like they did last year. So it's a little alarming, but yeah.
And not only that, I believe the Lions have one of the hardest remaining schedules, if I'm not mistaken. And this is like 3 games in a row that have not been pretty. And let me just look at the remaining schedule.
I know they play Denver next. Yeah, that's going to be a tough game.
That's a tough one. They play the Vikings. They still haven't played the Vikings. They play the Vikings twice, and they play the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's likely, but they could lose 3 or 4 of those.
They could lose out, honestly, if we're being real.
Lose out.
They could go 9-8.
And that would be such a letdown. This team has so much firepower on offense, but you know, when Jared Goff, like we said this at the beginning of the year, like, if he sucks, this team is going to suck. Yeah. And he has not been great these last 3 weeks. I mean, yeah, they won against the Saints, but it was a close one. And he actually played better against the Saints. It was really on that defense, I believe, that, you know, kind of let the Saints get back in it. But, you know, again, he wasn't able to score really in the second half either. But, you know, that was last week. But this week, man, the Bears, let's give them credit. Their defense has improved a shit ton ever since Montez Sweat got there. And, you know, good for the Bears. I mean, Justin Fields, he balled out too.
DJ Moore, he looked great. That defense. So I know during the preseason, we were getting a little bit of we were getting a couple comments from Bears fans, kind of, you know, saying that we didn't know what we were talking about. And it turns out you guys might have been onto something. Like, your defense sucked at the beginning of the year, so we were right. But now it's kind of going back in your favor. So Bears fans, you got something to hang your hat on. This defense is looking light years better than it did the first half of the season. Like, this defense looks legit recently. They got some pass rush. Secondary's playing pretty well. So who knows? Maybe Eberflus isn't going to be on his way out. Too early to tell. Maybe he's still on the hot seat. But I think the Bears... Oh, really quick. I think the coolest thing is that the Bears might be the first team to have the first overall pick and still make the playoffs. That would be absolutely insane if that actually happens.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not... Like, I think they need the Vikings to lose like 2 of their next 4.
Yeah.
They need a lot of stuff to happen, but you know, the teams in front of them, like the Vikings, the Packers, the Rams, like, you know, they're all not powerhouse teams. Like, I could see a lot of stuff happening, and the Bears have been playing good, unlike some of these other teams. So I mean, they got what? I think they had 2 wins last year, and so they already have 5. So they've already doubled their wins.
I think the Bears had 3 wins last year. Maybe it was 2.
They?
I'll look it up. I think.
Yeah. I mean, this was. I think this was the most shocking game of the week. But you know, good for the Bears. You know, they definitely need to hang their hat on something. But you know,
were
Justin 3-14.
Okay. So they won 3.
All right, thank you. So one more game, they're gonna double it. You know, and I think they get one more win. I do. What was I going to say? But, you know, this is going to make the offseason a lot more interesting. Justin Fields has been playing good recently, and, you know, they're going to have the number 1 overall pick. So what are they going to do with it? I don't know. We'll see.
Man, that's going to be a tough decision, because if it was me personally, I would probably move on from Justin Fields. Like,
yeah,
he's had games where like he can look good, but I think that you could honestly trade him for some kind of value in the draft. But I haven't seen enough to make me think that he's going to be the person to lead me to a Super Bowl victory, because I still feel like there is some delayed like decision making and processing of the defenses. But overall, like he's still one of the most athletically gifted quarterbacks I've ever seen. So it's tough to say. They'll have a tough decision on their hand next year when it comes to the draft. But overall, good win for Chicago. Nice to see it.
All right, next game. Not going to have too much to say about it. We picked the Saints to win. Thank God they did. They beat the Panthers 28-6.
Panthers
And,
just look bad, man. They just look bad.
They're a bad team. And I know there's a lot of hate for Bryce Young or whatever, but he's on a bad team, dude. Like,
no weapons.
He has
offensive
nothing.
line's terrible. He's got Chuba Hubbard, and that's pretty much it right now. I mean, even Miles Sanders isn't doing too much. I mean, he had a pretty decent game. I mean, 74 yards rushing this game, but yeah, man, he's just lacking weapons. He has like no elite receivers. Jonathan Mingo seems to like want to jump and catch the ball out of bounds like all the time. Adam Thielen's old and decrepit. The defense is okay. I'll say the Carolina Panthers defense can keep them in games sometimes, but yeah, man, this team just needs a whole lot. They need a whole lot.
Yeah. I'm not ready to write the ship off for Young yet. He's in a bad situation. I honestly doubt, even if they went CJ Stroud, I doubt we see the CJ Stroud that we're seeing in Houston, because it's a bad team, and you gotta build. It's gonna be a couple years until the Panthers are relevant.
Yeah,
So,
I think next year they could make it to maybe like 5-6 wins if they draft correctly.
yeah, maybe. But good win for the Saints. They desperately needed this one. They've been reeling. And that's probably like kind reeling. Imploding is probably a better term. But they needed this one. And, like we said earlier, they're 6-7. They're tied with the Falcons and the Bucks. So they control their own destiny.
Yep. Anyone's division.
Let's move on. Oh my fucking God. Definitely not going to have anything to say about this game. The Vikings, we picked them to win. They did.
Bro, oh my God. This was just a battle of defenses. My God.
Yeah. They won 3-0. They didn't get the first points weren't scored until the last 2 minutes of the game. Justin Jefferson came back, and just like that, he was out.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs officially has turned into a pumpkin.
Yeah.
He has
Cinderella story has ended.
Yeah, I mean, I was really rooting for the guy, but there's a reason he's been on 6 different teams.
Yeah.
So, Nick Mullins came in, did okay, I guess.
He had more passing yards than Josh Dobbs. He had 20 more passing yards.
Yeah, I mean, and he drove them to get a field goal. So I guess the best player on the Vikings was TJ Hawkinson. He kind of had a solid game. But
that's it. Good win for the Vikings. And by good, I mean, it was atrocious, but at least you won.
Yeah, and kept their playoff hopes alive.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. We probably won't talk too much about this one unless you want to.
I'm assuming this is the Chargers.
Yes. We picked the Broncos. We both picked the Broncos, and they cream pied the Chargers.
Yeah. Justin Herbert. You go ahead. Go ahead.
Really, the only positive from this game, from the Chargers side, is Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler looked good this game. He was able to catch the ball. He was able to run the ball a little bit better. Other than that, all bad Chargers. All bad. I'll
say one more positive. At least Quentin Johnson almost had his first 100-yard receiving game, had 91 yards on 3 receptions, had a nice catch for a 60-yard pass.
Was this all from Easton Stick?
All from Easton Stick.
The true GOAT of the Chargers franchise?
Dude, it fucking might be, man.
I just want to talk about the Broncos real quick, and then you can take it away.
Sounds good.
Russell Wilson,
not gonna have too much to say.
Played pretty decently. A couple touchdowns, interception. Javonte had a pretty good game. And
his first rushing touchdown of the year.
Really? I didn't even realize that. Wow.
Yeah, his first rushing touchdown of the year.
Wow. I'm glad I did not, because I was thinking about picking him up. I'm glad I was not able to pick him up in fantasy drafts. Um, but that Cortland Sutton touchdown was amazing. Take it away, Dan. Talk about your Chargers if you want.
They suck, man. Justin Herbert been dealing with injuries all year. This is now the second finger that he's broken this year. Offensive line is in shambles. Defense has been playing all right, but dude, I saw so many missed tackles. Derwin James doesn't look great. Defensive line didn't look great. Linebacking, secondary, everything looks like shit. Brandon Staley needs to go. Tom Telesco needs to go. I just keep preaching this. Even Justin Herbert looked like shit when he was in there, man. Like they had he was missing receivers. They couldn't catch again. It was just bad, man. Like this team really needs a rebuild, and like an actual rebuild. Like build it from the ground up. Like start with the front office and build it a correct way. So yeah, that's all I got to say. It was a good win for Denver. Their defense looked good. Russell Wilson looked pretty decent for the most part. So good win for the Broncos.
And the Broncos are one game behind the Chiefs.
True that. Yeah.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? All right, next game. Talk about my boys. 49ers, we picked them to win. They did 28-16. And man, Seahawks came to play for the first half, really. First quarter. And then, I mean, the Niners weren't able to do anything. They were stopping it. Well, actually, not even going to say that. The very first play was like a 70-yard run. And then they scored. And then after that, the Seahawks defense started playing pretty good. DK Metcalf I can't stand the dude. But he made an amazing catch. And it was his second catch, and that's all he would get for the remainder of the game. After that, the 49ers just kind of took over. Everybody ate this game. Brock Purdy, his most passing yards in his career.
Was this his most passing yards?
Yeah. Yep. Oh. Brandon Ayuk hit 1,000 yards for his second year in a row. He had like 130 yards receiving. 126, my fault. Deebo Samuel, another monster freaking game.
Yeah,
scoring.
Fuck you, Deebo. Fucked me in fantasy, pussy.
Deebo's different, man. This is the Deebo I remember from the 2019 season.
Yeah, dude. He looked good.
And the 2021 season. He's a monster. He's just a different animal. And
he's a man.
He's a man. He is a man. George Kittle, 8. Christian McCaffrey, 8. The defense, 8. Feels good to sweep the Seahawks.
2 years in a row.
Yeah, 2 years. Actually, This was 5 in a row now, if you count that playoff game.
Playoff game, yeah.
Yeah, so it's awesome. The tides have turned back into the 49ers' favor. They showed a stat. When Russell Wilson was on the Seahawks, they were 13-4, I believe. Or he was 13-4 against the 49ers. And I'm just like, really? We only got 4 wins in, how long is that, like 8 years?
Something like that, yeah.
God, no wonder I freaking hate the Seahawks so much. But, everything just went good. There's a couple injuries on the 49ers, but, it's nothing serious. But, the Diamador Lenore, he came in and stepped up and locked DK Metcalf up, held him without a catch the entire next 3 quarters of the game. Damn, I could go on and on about the 49ers. They're the best team in the NFL. I said at the beginning, they're still my Super Bowl pick. It's looking pretty good. Actually, it's looking really good. I could say everything and I could say nothing. You got anything to say, Dane?
No, I knock on wood because I'd never want to curse you like you cursed me tonight. But I genuinely, it's all good. I genuinely don't see the 49ers losing again. The way that this team is playing, it's back to being that juggernaut that we saw at the beginning of the season before they had that little lull where they had the 3-game losing streak. But this is the team where you watch them play and it is just perfection. It is probably the best team I've watched in years. Even when the Chiefs were winning their Super Bowls or they had the superpower teams, their defense didn't look great. This is like one of the most balanced, dominant teams there is, like offensively and defensively. And it's just incredible, man. Like it must feel so good because it's like I enjoy watching the 49ers because it's like Erica's family, they're all 49ers fans. And I got Brock Purdy on my fantasy team, but it's just a different league. It feels like the 49ers are in a league of their own, and then they're playing like Division II teams. It's like watching Alabama play like Georgia Tech. That's what it really feels like watching. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And Brock Purdy just continues to do it, man. Like, I don't know what else. I honestly don't know what else he has to do for people to realize that he's just a good fucking quarterback. Like he's thrown for like over 300 yards his last 3 games, multiple touchdowns, super accurate. And the biggest thing about this game, for all the people who said he can't throw the deep ball, go look at the tape. Like right in the breadbasket, hit Debo in stride, hit Ayuk in stride, hit Kittle in stride. Like, yeah, it's just, the only thing, knock on wood, that can beat them is themselves. And injuries. So cross your fingers, man. It's looking promising. We'll move on. This game had some controversy in it. Maybe we can talk about it just a little bit. But we picked them to win. I thought the Bills would be more desperate, and they were. They beat the Chiefs 20-17. And, the Bills look good. They looked good for a while, and then the Chiefs kind of got back into the game and made it a game. Do you want to talk about the game, or do you want to talk about the controversy?
I'll add something to the game, and then I want to go into the controversy because I do have a standpoint on this. Overall, I think both defenses played really well. I think both offenses did enough to win the game. Because, honestly, the last play of the game, that's all I'm going to say. Because, it was a good game. Like, it had good defense and then some big plays here and there. I think Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes both had a hiccup, but they also had, good drives, good sustaining drives. Stephon Diggs didn't really do anything. I like that they're utilizing James Cook, Dalton Kincaid a little bit more. Gabe Davis was non-existent. And then on the other side, Rashee Rice seems to be, their go-to receiver now, along with Travis Kelce. But the last play of the game, everyone knows what we're talking about. Kadarius Toney lined up offsides. He did it 4 times in the game. And they didn't call it the first 3 times, but they called it the last time. I understand frustration, but motherfucker, you got to check with the ref. You have to look to see if you are behind the line of scrimmage. And he didn't all 4 times. Maybe they didn't call it the first 3 times, but they called it in the big time. And guess what? Either way, it was the right call because he was lined up offsides. Yeah, maybe the ref should have called it every single time, and that can cause frustration. I get that because it doesn't necessarily have a direct impact on the play. It was still a beautiful play design, and he's still on the line of scrimmage. But it's the rules. And I honestly think that Patrick Mahomes literally showed that he's not used to losing this much in a season because he cried. He freaking cried, man. He was losing his shit. And it felt good as a Chargers fan to watch. I'm not going to lie. I loved watching it. It was like a meltdown that I've been waiting to see.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think if anything, if you're going to call it, you should have been calling it the 4 other times.
Agreed.
Whatever. It should have been, but he should have 100% checked. We saw the videos. Everyone's seen the videos. He kind of does a little thing, doesn't get the go ahead, and then they snap the ball. Boom, offsides. You have to be smarter than that. Kadarius Toney has cost the Chiefs 2 or 3 games this year. He's a liability, and he's 100% a liability, man. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm benching him. He's not helping your team out. But and then to the Pat Mahomes thing, yeah, man, it looked bad. It looked very bad for Pat Mahomes. You're the face of the NFL. Andy Reid, and Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce have been the face of the NFL for the last couple of years. Right now, you didn't really see anything from Travis Kelce, but Pat Mahomes trying to rush the ref and then shaking Josh Allen's hand and
and then
not
talking
saying
about the game
yeah,
or like the play. Come
yeah,
on, man.
and
That
like
is
bitching about the play. It's like, dude, and this is what kind of irked me about Tom Brady, like always bitching for calls, blah blah blah. Like it's not a good look, man. And honestly, if they were winning, if they had a better record, he'd still be pretty frustrated. But they suck this year. Like they are not good. Like their receivers suck. They're just not they're not what we're used to seeing. Granted, they'll probably still win a couple playoff games and probably make this fucking Super Bowl again, but they're not that great. They're 8-6. If the Broncos beat them,
are they 8-6?
Yeah, dude, or 8 and
Yeah, they're 8-5. 8-5.
yeah, 8-5, 8-5. My fault. But when's the last time the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have lost 5 games? I couldn't tell you.
I don't think they have since Patrick Mahomes has been the
Yeah.
quarterback. I'll tell you this right now, as a Chargers fan, I'm pretty sure the most
Yeah.
they've lost is 4 games in a season.
Yeah, all NFL fans right now. But yeah, it's just a bad look. I don't like it at all. I'm not a Chief hater, but
I am.
whatever.
Fuck the
Yeah, I know
Chiefs.
you are. But yeah, I kind of am a Chief hater. Fuck the Chiefs. But yeah, it's just not a good look, man. And they suck, and that's why the frustration's boiled over. So it is what it is. But good for the Bills keeping their playoff hopes alive. Scrappy team. I would not be wanting to play the Bills right now. Their backs are against the wall.
Yep. True that.
All right, next game. This one was a
Blowout.
We picked them to
Back-to-back
win.
weeks.
Yep. We picked them to win. They did. Cowboys cream pied the Eagles 33-13. Held the Eagles to 0 touchdowns or 0 offensive touchdowns.
Yep.
And
literally, they forced 3 fumbles, I think, this game. I think they forced Jalen Hurts to fumble, Devontae Smith to fumble,
and AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Yep.
Couldn't remember if it was Goddard, but yeah, it was AJ Brown.
Yeah, man, the Cowboys balled out. And if you're a Cowboys fan or just a football fan, this is what you wanted to see from the Cowboys to kind of
Finally
prove
be
that they're
good
good.
win or a good team.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the Seahawks, we have our opinions about them. But they beat them, and now they beat the Eagles. They're 10-3. They're in first place in that division now. So all they have to do is win out. And,
Actually, I think the Eagles still have the tie.
really,
Because on the broadcast, I'm pretty sure they said if the Eagles and the Cowboys both went out, the Eagles would still take the division. Because they have split, but I think that I can't remember what it is based off of or strength of schedule or something like that. I think the Eagles would still have the tie break if they both won out. So unfortunately, the Eagles technically still have the lead.
well, as of now, the Cowboys are the number 2 seed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. As of now. So the Cowboys need some help. But, the Eagles are reeling, man. This is kind of what we've talked about all year. They haven't looked that great, even though they have found ways to win. And it's kind of caught up to, it's finally caught up to them. So
really quick, I'm not as concerned about the offense as I think I should be, but the defense, man, they are not looking
Bad.
good. Like
bad.
they are like if you look at like stats, they're one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. Like they look like the Chargers, like genuinely, like they look like Swiss cheese out there. Like they're getting tore up, and their run defense isn't great either. Like the defense in general has regressed tremendously. Like last year, they were one of the best, if not the best defense with the 49ers. And then this year they're bad. And the offense is okay. Like it's still better than the average. Don't get me wrong, because they still have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. But if Jalen Hurts isn't doing like phenomenal plays, like this offense is not that great either. So,
yeah. No, I mean, I still think they're a good team. I just don't think I don't think there's like 4 10-3 teams there right now. I don't think they're on the level of those other 10-3 teams. I don't.
yeah, agreed.
I still have them making the playoffs, probably winning a playoff game. And if they play the Cowboys, I think they'll lose again, honestly.
I think it depends on where it's played, because they did beat them at the beginning of the year. They did beat the Cowboys at home, and then they lost to the Cowboys away. So it's like both of them have won at home. So I think home field advantage is going to play a huge factor in that.
Yeah, I agree. But Cowboys, man, balled out. What was I going to say? I was going to say,
are they them boys? Are they them boys?
You know what? I think they are them boys.
They might
They
be
are
them boys,
them boys, but
unless they play the 49ers.
Yes, they're still not as good as the 49ers. Yeah.
They still know who daddy is.
And, you know, we'll talk about it in our power rankings, but they moved up.
Oh, yeah, dude. Big time.
Well, I was going to say something about the Cowboys. Oh, real quick. MVP of this game, Notre Dame soccer player kicker Brandon Aubrey.
Is that where he came from? He came from Notre Dame?
Yeah, he played soccer at Notre Dame.
He hasn't missed a field goal.
Dude,
he's missed PATs. Jesus.
He is a stud. If you have him, if your fantasy league plays with kickers, you know, two out of the three of mine do. And I have him in one of them. He got me 22 points just because he had like so many field goals in this game.
Did he actually?
Awesome. Yes, he balled out. He's a baller, dude. He's a weapon. He is a weapon. But other than that, you know, the Cowboys were able to do it against a good team. So that's good to see if you're a Cowboys fan.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to Monday night. We had two games. Unfortunately,
they were both actually good games.
They were, and we did not pick either one.
They were both upsets.
Yes, it was awesome. We'll start with the Giants. They upset the Packers 24-22, and Jordan Love sucks again.
It was bad, man. He was missing throws left and right. He ended up making a couple good throws. Like, I want to give him where credit's due, but bro, he was missing receivers that were wide open left and right. Timing was off, placement was off, accuracy was off, processing was off. It was kind of like what we saw at the beginning of the year when we were like, what is this? Like, he does not look right. And then he went on that 3-game winning streak and you're like, oh shit, here are the Packers. And Matt LaFleur was 16-0 or whatever, which is crazy because I saw the stat today. The only other team to do that was the San Diego Chargers from 2006 to 2009. They had never lost a game in December. So both teams, they didn't break the Chargers record. They both were 16-0, and then they both lost the 17th game. So congratulations, Packers fans. You join us, Chargers fans. Glad you couldn't break it, pussies.
Yeah. Jordan Love did not play his best game at all. The Packers defense, you know, they were stiff at the beginning of the game, but the Giants, Tommy DeVito, dude, you know, I like his story.
4, bro. 3 of 4.
Dude. You know, he's kind of like Daniel Jones, not the best passer, but where he excels is his running. Like, and the Packers, like, towards the end of the game, they were not able to stop it. He led them to a game-winning field goal. He actually had a couple beautiful throws, I will say that. Yeah. And, you know, he has some potential. The Giants have potential in the wide receiver room. We just have yet to see it. We saw it a little bit more today. You know, Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale.
Dude, Wan'Dale actually looks good. Like, Wan'Dale Robinson is kind of like what we expected Kadarius Toney to be. Like, they're both like the same build, twitchy, like speed demons. But Wan'Dale actually looks like he knows what the fuck he's doing out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Giants, actually, thank you, Giants, because you beat the Packers and it helped the 49ers be the first team to secure a playoff berth. So thank you, Giants. Thank you. It was just a good game from the Giants and a not so great game from the Packers. And let's move on to the other Monday night. Another upset. This one's more alarming to me.
Big time.
The Titans beat the Dolphins 28-27.
Especially because the Dolphins took a 27 to like 14 lead or whatever the fuck it was, 27-14 lead with like 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
And then they blew it.
Yeah. So we want to talk about Brock Purdy and how he's surrounded by, weapons, right? Look what Tua was without Tyreek on the field for 3/4 of the game. He looked bad. He wasn't able to do anything. The Titans' defense was all over him. The D-line, they got a couple sacks on him. Actually, got a sack to seal the game, which was, always lackluster, but it's awesome if you like defense. But, yeah, man, he really wasn't able to do a whole lot. Jalen Waddle, stepped up a little bit, but Dolphins, man, I was about to be like, man, maybe the Dolphins are kind of good. I was like kind of leaning towards that, and then they did this shit, and I don't know, man. What do you think of the Dolphins?
I don't know what to think of them. They're a very perplexing team when it comes to looking at all the talent that they have, but then the teams that they've actually beaten. They were at home in this game as well, which is another alarming thing because they had time to prepare. They didn't have to travel. It was a bad offense in the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis he had one good game prior to this. Derrick Henry hadn't been doing anything spectacular, and Miami's defense has like really shown out. And then this game, it was back and forth, 10-10 game at halftime or whatever it was. Then the Dolphins take the lead, and you're like, okay, here's the Dolphins. Force a fumble, scoop and score, or whatever it was. Then they scoop it up, and then Raheem Mostert scores on the next play, or whatever the fuck. You're like, all right, this is the team that we kind of expected. And then it was just like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. Will Levis is willing this team down there. Like, I like what I see from Will Levis, man. I really do. He's had a couple ugly games, but he's also had 2 games where you're like, I could see the potential. Like, I think if he was surrounded by a little bit more talent, I mean, him and D-Hop have a good connection. I will say that, which also really fucked me tonight in fantasy. But him and D-Hop have a good connection. If he was surrounded by more weapons, I think that you could build around Will Levis. I think that, give him a shot. I say play him next year. I think he'll be the starting quarterback. And, Tennessee, I think that they get a couple more defensive pieces. They'll be right back into, kind of competing a little bit more. I don't know if they'll be a playoff team, but they'll be more competitive for sure. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I liked what I saw from them. Miami, I'm a little alarmed with, though.
So am I. They're still the second seed, but if you go into the playoffs without beating really anybody, at least tough teams, you're not really battle tested. So yeah, man, I don't know. I still wouldn't want to play them, honestly, though. I mean, all those weapons, like, it's scary, but, so we are done talking about the week 14 matchups. We're going to switch it over to
the power rankings.
Yeah, power rankings, our favorite segment.
There is, really quick, I want to preface this. There is a lot of movement because there were so many upsets this week and so many teams that were in my top 10 that lost. And so it's going to be interesting because there are some teams that lost that were big upsets that should have moved down more, but didn't because other teams lost as well. So it's very interesting to see where this will pan out, but I'm ready to get into it whenever you are.
I'm always ready, Dane. I'm gonna kick it off. Number 32. Welcome back. I got the Carolina Panthers. They still suck.
Yep, I haven't moved the Carolina Panthers in however long. Carolina's 32 for me as well.
All right, 31. I got the Patriots moving up. Big win for them, but it's not enough for me to move them up any higher than that. I still think they're very bad.
Agreed. But 31 for me is actually Washington. They had the bye, but I still moved them down just because they didn't play.
And that's who I have at 30. So Washington at 30.
Yeah, 30 for me is where I have New England. Like you said, big win, but I don't want to move them up too much. I don't want to crown them just because it was one win. And before that, they had lost 3 straight where they had held opponents to 10 points or fewer, and they hadn't won any of those games. So they're still a bad team.
All right, at 29, kind of the same thing with the Commanders. I have the Cardinals. bunch of these other teams won, and they only have 3 wins still. So, yeah, putting the Cardinals there at
All right.
29.
29 for me is a shocking one, I'm assuming. And there's a lot that goes into this as a fan. I got the Chargers. No, hear me out. So hear me out. So I'm not just like trying to like burn my team, but I think it's at the point where it's like, let's take a realistic look at this team. No Mike Williams, no Corey Linsley, no Justin Herbert, no Josh Palmer, no Joey Bosa, like a lot, JC Jackson, like all of their like top tier money players who they gave a lot of money to are either not playing on the team or are no longer with the team. JC Jackson's not even with the team, and he was like a $19 million cap hit. Justin Herbert's out for the remaining of the season, I'm assuming, because he broke his finger. He's going to be out. You're going to be going in with a backup quarterback in Easton Stick. This offensive line is bad. I mean, he had 2 he had 2 sacks this last game where he turned the ball over, fumbled it away. This defense hasn't been good. It's poorly coached. Chargers are a bad team, man. Even though they have 5 wins, like I definitely think if they were to play the Bears again or even Arizona, I think they would lose personally. So yeah, I got the Chargers moving out 7 spots at 29.
Yeah, I don't blame you. They are a bad team. It's just there's some other bad teams, even though they've gotten a couple wins here and there. It's hard for me to put the Chargers behind them. But
I genuinely do not see the Chargers winning another game, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I know that, which means I'll probably drop them to where you have them next week. But at 28, moving up 2 spots, huge win. I got the New York Jets. It's still bomb defense, but it's just I've seen too much to really move this team any higher. So 28 Jets.
28 for me, staying put. I have Arizona because of the bye.
All right, at 27, I got the Raiders dropping 5.
I have the Raiders at 27, dropping 6.
All right.
Goose egg.
Yeah, man. Yeah, goose egg. They kind of played with us a little bit, won a couple in a row, but they're back to being a really bad team. All right, 26. Moving up 3 spots. I have the Giants.
I have the Giants moving up 3 as well to 26.
All right. Yeah, huge win. Mm-hmm. This is probably Dayball's crown win for the season.
And they've won 3 of their last 4, which is impressive.
Yeah, and they look good on Monday night. They stopped a very hot Packers team. The defense played great. DeVito did DeVito things. They're trending in the right direction, at least for this season. I'm not saying they're going to win out or make playoffs. They're not going to make playoffs, but I could see them winning 2 or maybe even 3 more games.
Yeah, I could see it as well. I could definitely see this team being about a 7 to 8 win team.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, where this season started, that's a win for them.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I'm glad that they didn't just turn in the towel and just decide to tank, because it shows that, Dable actually he's a good coach. Like, it was rocky, but I think a lot of it is showing that a lot of it was on quarterback play. A lot of it was on Daniel Jones. A lot of it was on Tyrod Taylor or whoever they had in there. And now that they have Danny DeVito, he actually looks like he might be the answer for this season. I'm not saying he's the answer moving forward, but he gives this team something to play for. Like, the fans are into it. The family's into it. Coach is into it. Giving them something to root for.
Yep. And he's a New Jersey guy, which is pretty cool.
Born and raised.
Yep. All right. At 25, moving up 3 spots, I have the Chicago Bears.
I have the Bears at 25 also, moving up 2.
All right. Yeah, I mean, again, huge win for the Bears. Their defense has been playing very good these last couple weeks. Justin Fields is healthy. He played really good against the Lions. And honestly, they embarrassed the Lions. They really did.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, this defense is a tale of 2 halves. Like, this defense looks night and day different. This offense is even looking better. I'm glad Justin Fields is out there, kind of, at least giving himself an opportunity. If he's not the answer for Chicago moving forward, at least giving him an opportunity to be traded and play somewhere else. So good for the Bears.
I agree. All right, at 24, dropping 3 spots. This is where I have your boys, the Chargers. Like I said, they are a bad team, but they're also tied with the Raiders, Giants, Bears, and Jets. If they lose one more game, I have no problem dropping them to 28 or whatever. Like, they are a bad team. The reason I like this team so much is because of Justin Herbert, and without him, they're just another team. So, yeah, Chargers at 24.
24 for me, moving up 2 spots. I have Tennessee. I wanted to move them up more for this win, but they have the same record as the Chargers. They're a 5-8 team. Hasn't been pretty, but I really like the fight from Will Levis on Monday night against Miami. Willed that team back. The defense played tough. The running game got going. So, Tennessee, I don't see them making any noise. I don't see them making playoffs. I think that that's kind of over for this year, unfortunately. But it's good to see that, maybe you can build around Will Levis. Give him a year, see what happens next year. And, Vrabel's still a good head coach. So Tennessee at 24, moving up 2.
And that's who I have at 23. I agree with everything you said. It's just been kind of a rocky road, so I'm not going to put them up any higher than 23.
At 23 for me, this is where I actually have the Jets. I have them moving up 2 spots. It was a dominant win. I liked what I saw. The defense has been good the entire season. There was a couple games where obviously you saw them get a little bit more winded than other games, but this is the first time this offense actually looked like a competent offense, and it was in the rain, and it was against a good defense in the Houston Texans. Like, the Houston Texans have a good defense and they're well coached. So it was good to see, kind of Zach Wilson just playing free. Like, he didn't seem to be like worried about like what he was doing out there. He was just making plays and got it to his playmakers. Like we talked about in the earlier segment, get it to your playmakers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and good things will happen. So I don't think the Jets are going to do anything the rest of the season. I think it's way too late for that, but it was a good win for them. So yeah, Jets moving up 2 to 23.
All right, at 22, moving up 2 spots, I have the Bucks. Huge win. They control their destiny. They're in an easy division. They can make playoffs, maybe make a splash. I think they have the weapons and a defense to make a splash, to possibly upset a team. I wouldn't bet on it, but I like where Baker has taken this team. So Bucks at 22.
All right, 22 for me. This is where I have Atlanta, the team that just lost to the Bucks. I dropped them 2 spots. I don't think Atlanta played a bad game. I think that they were right in it. They could have won this game. This game would have gone either way, kind of who had the ball last. Desmond Ray looked good. Drake London, this was his coming out party. Like, this was, I think, his most dominant performance in his career. Kyle Pitts got utilized, Bijan Robinson. So it's like he's getting it to his playmakers. And I think Arthur Smith maybe kind of changed his play calling a little bit in the right direction, and the defense still made plays here and there. It was just a divisional matchup that didn't go in their favor. It was a good game though, so I don't want to knock them too much, but it was a loss. So Atlanta moving down 2 to 22.
All right, 21, moving down 1 spot. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They suck. I can't stand them. I cannot stand this team. And it's funny because like I love their defense, but overall, like, the quarterback play, the offense play, George Pickens' attitude, like, I can't stand the fucking Steelers. And it's like, and it's not because they're good, it's because they suck. And it's not
they
even
have
like
a winning record. That's why it's the most frustrating.
Yeah, and it's not even like they suck. Like, it's not even like they're the Panthers bad. It's that they should be better than this, and they're not. And it pisses me off. So Steelers at 21. Change my mind.
I'm not moving. No, I'm not changing your mind. 21 for me is Tampa. I have them moving up 3 spots. Good competitive matchup right above my 22 team, which is the team that they just beat. They're right in the thick of things. They could win the division. So I'm excited for Baker. I like what he's doing this year. I think the team can make plays on both offense and defense. Just see where it goes. So yeah, Tampa moving up 3 to 21.
All right. At 20, moving down 1 spot, even though they won, it's just kind of how things go. I got the Saints at
I have
20.
the Saints at 20 as well.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to move them up 5 spots because they beat the Panthers. Sorry.
Yeah, I actually moved New Orleans up 3 just because where my board was and where everyone else was. I would have only moved them up 1 or maybe not even move them. But because they did win and where I had everyone in my power rankings previously, I had to move them up. Chris Olave looked good. Alvin Kamara looked good. Defense looked good, but it was against the worst team in the NFL. I still have question marks about quarterback play, and they are dealing with injuries. So we'll see what they can do moving forward. But New Orleans at 20.
All right, at 19, dropping 3 spots, even with the win, I have the Vikings. They look bad. They're without their star player. They lost their potential savior of the season in Josh Dobbs. Now they're on the back of Nick Mullins. I mean, they didn't lose Josh Dobbs, but he's just turned back into a pumpkin. Nick Mullins, I've seen him play nice, but he was surrounded by weapons in San Francisco. And I mean, he's kind of surrounded with weapons in Minnesota, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. I don't know about the Vikings. They're in playoff spot right now, but I could see them losing out. I could see them. I don't know what I can see with the Vikings. Their future is very murky.
Yeah, I agree. It is very murky. 19 for me is Seattle. I know we differ slightly on the way that we view this team. I think that they have looked better, even though they've lost to Dallas and San Francisco. I think they've looked better in these games. Like they could have beaten Dallas. They should have. They were competitive with San Francisco for at least the first half. But this team just can't pull off wins. DK Metcalf, if you get under his skin, like Kyle Shanahan wanted his players to do, he'll lose it, get ejected. Zach Charbonnet, I do want to say I like what he's been doing. He looks pretty decent. And, he was coming off of an injury with the knee. Kenneth Walker got utilized here and there, but the defense is struggling still. But they played the best team in the NFL, so I don't want to take too much away with it. So Seattle moving down 1 to 19.
All right, 18. Staying put. I have the Rams. They lost, but they were playing with one of the best. They went toe to toe with one of the best teams in the NFL, and I think we talked about earlier that game spoke more about the Rams than the Ravens. I think they're a solid team, and I think they're better than Seattle. I would much rather see Seattle in the playoffs than the Rams because I think the Rams might be able to do something. I mean, they have a borderline Hall of Fame quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback, Super Bowl winning coach, Hall of Famer in Aaron Donald, and then they have young talent everywhere. This team can be scary, so they just got to find ways to win.
Agreed. 18 for me. This is where I have Green Bay. I'm dropping them 1 spot. Tough loss. They were one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They looked good for 3 weeks. They beat some good teams, and then they lost to a team that they should have absolutely dominated. So,
who is this? Sorry, I missed it.
Green Bay. Green Bay dropping 1 spot. Yeah, Jordan Love, not his best performance. I know they're still without Aaron Jones. I don't want to take too much away with that. They were without Christian Watson, so it can have an impact on quarterback play, but still, Jordan Love just was missing receivers left and right. So Green Bay moving down 1 to 18.
All right, at 17, I have the Falcons dropping 1 spot. No, staying put. They lost, but I still think they're kind of heading in the right direction. I think they played a great game against the Bucs. They just weren't able to stop, a comeback win from Baker Mayfield. I think in the last couple of weeks they've really owned their craft in giving the ball to Bijan, Desmond Ridder giving the ball to his playmakers, and he's improved. Drake London is an elite athlete. Kyle Pitts is an elite athlete. And the defense is playing so much better. Actually, they've been playing really good. So, yeah, I if I had to put money on it, I think they win the division.
All right, I like it. 17 for me. This is where I have Pittsburgh. I dropped them 1 spot. Yeah, like you said, it's just not an entertaining team to watch. Even though they have a winning record, the offense just does not look pretty. Even though the day after or the week after they fired Canada, the offense put up the first 400-yard game they've had in however many seasons, but it's just not pretty. The defense is good, but that's pretty much all that I can hang my hat on if I'm a Steelers fan. So Steelers at 17.
Kinder than I am. At 16, moving up 3 spots, I have the Cleveland Browns. Huge win for them. Keeps their playoff race or playoff hopes alive. And I think they kind of found their savior for the season in Joe Flacco. So I'm excited. We've seen this before. He had some spurts last year with the Jets.
Yeah.
But, I hope he can. I root for the Browns just because they've been historically bad. So hopefully he can will his way to the playoffs.
Agreed. 16 for me. This is where I have Minnesota. Even though they won by only 3, just based off of where the board was with everyone else and moving up and down, I have them moving up 3 spots to 16. They shouldn't move up 3, but it's just the way the board fell in my power rankings. Ugly win. But the defense, I think, has played really well. So that's what I'll contribute to the win. The defense and then a made field goal. So Minnesota at 16.
All right, 15, dropping 4 spots. I have the Packers. I jumped the gun a little bit the last couple weeks. I thought Jordan Love, turned it around, but he had a bad game. And he has done this all year. He plays bad, and then at the end they come back, and sometimes they find ways to win. They weren't able to against the Giants because they weren't able to stop the Giants. I have a little bit more hope in Jordan Love. I think he is probably the dude there. I just think it's going to be some bumps on the road because he can play bad. So, yeah, Packers at 15.
Agreed. 15 for me. This is where I have the Rams. I have them dropping 1 spot. Very competitive matchup. They could have beaten Baltimore. They took them to OT in Baltimore. Offense played great. Defense made a couple of turnovers here and there, but it was a good matchup. I don't want to take too much away from it. They played one of the best teams in the NFL and they almost beat them. So yeah, Rams moving down 1 to 15.
All right, 14, dropping 4 spots. This is where I have the Seahawks. Yeah, they were without Geno Smith. Drew Lock actually played a pretty decent game. I think the thing that makes me want to rank them higher than you is the amount of talent that they have on that team. Really hasn't come to fruition. They're on a 4-game losing streak right now, I believe, or maybe a 5-game losing streak. I think it's 4, but they have talent everywhere. I could easily see this team getting hot, making the playoffs, and that's all that matters. But right now they don't look good. So Seahawks at 14.
14 for me. This is where I have Indianapolis. I have them dropping 2 spots. They did not look great against Cincinnati. I will say that. Zach Moss didn't get enough going. Gardner Minshew didn't get enough going. The defense gave up a lot of yards, a lot of points. It was just an ugly loss. I'm not too concerned about Indianapolis. I still think that this team is a playoff caliber team. I still think that they have talent all over the field. So Michael Pittman's still that dude. Indianapolis dropping 2 to 14.
Yeah, and that's who I have at 13. I agree with everything you said. Only difference with me is I've seen a lot from the Colts this year, and I have been very impressed with them. So I'm not going to take one ugly game away from them to drop them a whole lot. So yeah, I think they are a playoff team. I think they can make a splash in playoffs.
Yeah, agreed. 13 for me. This is where I have Houston. I dropped them 4 spots. They got obliterated. They got the doors blown off. They're going to be without CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. They're dealing with injuries. And so that's a little alarming because now you're down playmakers. How much can the defense win you a game? I think the defense is good, but I don't know if it's like the Cleveland Browns where it can actually win you a game. So I'm a little concerned with Houston and the amount of injuries that they're sustaining at this point in the season. We'll see how quickly CJ Stroud is able to come back, because without CJ Stroud, I don't think Davis Mills is able to win them a game, unfortunately. So I have Houston dropping 4 to 13.
All right. At 12, moving up 3 spots, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. They're right there in the playoff race. Jake Browning has been playing really good the last 2 weeks. And he's surrounded by weapons, man. Like, he has probably some of the best weapons in the AFC. And, the defense helps him out, and he just has to not turn the ball over, really, and get the ball to his playmakers. So, Bengals, they're right there. So, yeah.
All right. 12 for me. This is where I have Cleveland. I have them moving up 3 spots. Defense came to play. Offense with Joe Flacco looks really good. It looks better than it did with Deshaun Watson, honestly. I think if this team had Nick Chubb right now, this team would be fierce. This team would be one to like really fear. But I'm glad to see Myles Garrett is, healthier, had the shoulder injury not too long ago, but he's back out there playing. Defense looks good. Cleveland at 12, moving up 3.
All right, at 11, moving up 3 spots, I have the Buffalo Bills. Seems dangerous right now. They won 2 in a row against. Who did they play last week?
I will tell you in just a sec.
Thank you. But this is a good team. They just were not winning in the early part of the season. They're 7-6. They're right there in the playoff race. They have a great quarterback. They have weapons everywhere. They're using James Cook. I think they're getting a little bit healthier on the defense. But if I'm an AFC opponent, I don't want to see the Bills right now because they're fighting. They are fighting right now.
So the Bills had a bye week 13, but before that,
was it the Eagles?
Yeah, they lost to the Eagles, so they lost 34-37.
That's right. I mean, they should, in my opinion, they should have beat the Eagles. Yeah. But they've been playing good. I'll say that.
Yeah, agreed. What are we on? 11?
Yep.
11 for me. This is okay. I need to preface this because there's going to be some people that are like, what the fuck is going on? Because my top tier teams all lost pretty much. Like a lot of them lost. And then a lot of my middle tier teams won. So like there's some movement. I think there's debates for both of them, but some people are going to find a problem with this. But at 11 for me, I actually have the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't hate it.
With Trevor Lawrence having his injury, he did not look great. I think this is back-to-back weeks they've lost, if I'm not mistaken. I think they lost last week as well.
Yep.
So
lost to the Brown Bengals.
Yeah. So this team is still good. Don't get me wrong. Like this defense is still good, but it hasn't looked elite, kind of like it did last year. I think last year down the second half of the season, it looked great. Like that defense was like lights out. The offense is still kind of, it's up and down. It's like a roller coaster. Like you have your really good peaks and then you have your really low valleys. So I'm a little concerned with this team, but I think that they'll still be a playoff team. I think that they'll still make it to the dance. I just don't know how long they're going to dance for. So Jacksonville at 11.
I like it. All right, 10. I have the Broncos moving up 2 spots. Good win against the Chargers. Handled a team they should have handled if they're going to be a playoff team. They're right there. And they're just humming, man. And they could have beat the Texans last week, but sometimes that's how shit goes. But overall, the Broncos have really turned their season around, so I've been impressed with them.
100%. 10 for me. This is where I have Detroit. I have them dropping 3 spots.
Wow.
It's crazy to say because they're 9-4, but they don't feel like a 9-4 team recently. I would say at the beginning of this, like it's the first half, they looked phenomenal. Second half has been kind of sputtering a little bit. The wheels have been churning a little bit, and it hasn't looked like the same defense. Offense hasn't looked the same. Goff has looked terrible the last month, I would say. The last month, Goff has been bad. The last month, the defense has been bad, and the offensive line has been bad. Like, it has not looked like the Detroit Lions that we were so ecstatic about. Like, oh, our prediction's right. Like, we bet this team was going to make it. Like, they were going to be one of the best teams, and they looked like it. But recently, they haven't. So I'm dropping them. They've lost to both the Packers and Chicago recently, 2 division opponents that they should have been able to beat. So yeah, Detroit moving down 3 spots to 10.
Yeah, I get it. I still think they're a good team though. But
Agreed.
yeah, all right. So I just want to say this before we get into these next ones. 9 through 5 did not change for me. All these teams lost. So so I mean, should they have dropped more? Sure, maybe, but I still think these teams are probably the best from what I've seen overall in the season and their weapons and what I think they will turn their seasons around if they did lose or whatever. I think there's certain aspects to all these teams I'm about to list that still make me put them in front of all the other teams I listed. But at 9, I have the Jags. They have a good defense. They have like the number 3 or 4 defense. It's been solid. It's kind of sputtered the last couple weeks, but Trevor Lawrence coming off the injury, he's still a good quarterback. And before that, he had like 3 games in a row where he's just been balling out. So hopefully he can get healthy and do that. And this team has weapons. ETN, Kirk. Well, Kirk's hurt now, right?
I believe so. Christian Kirk, yeah.
Shoot, I forgot about that.
But Zay Jones, you still have Evan Ingram, you still have Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. So they have weapons. I think this team will be fine. They just they're having their spurt that you don't want to have later in the season. So Jags at 9.
9 for me is Buffalo. I have them moving up 4 spots. They were just 6-6. They're 7-6 now. So like the record doesn't indicate it, but like you said, they've played well the last 2 weeks. Even though they lost to Philadelphia 37-34, they played well. Josh Allen's looked great. Like the offense has looked better. This last week against Kansas City has one of the best defenses this year in the NFL, and they got it done. And the defense stepped up when they needed to. So I like Buffalo with their backs against the wall. They're a dangerous team. Watch out for Buffalo.
Yep. Nothing scarier than a team backed up against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
All right, at 8, another team that lost. I have the Texans. I am nervous for them for all the injuries, but I've seen a lot from this team that still makes me think they're in the top 10. They just need to get healthy. I do agree. I think if CJ Stroud is not on the field, they lose. But once he's back on the field, I think they'll be fine. The Tank Dell injury is going to be huge for them, but I don't think the Nico Collins thing is going to be multiple weeks. He might miss this next week, but I think he should be back. And that defense is pretty nice. So yeah, Texans at 8.
Yeah, I agree. 8 for me is Denver. I have them moving up 2 spots. Even though they had a week where they lost to Houston, they had won like 4 in a row. They're back on track. They've won 5 of their last like 6 games. Defense looks great. Defense has really turned the season around. Offense, Russell Wilson looks like he, not like he did in Seattle, but he's close to it. He's making plays. He's utilizing his legs. Cortland Sutton's doing things that, not many receivers can do with one hand. And, this offense is looking a lot better with Sean Payton at the head coach position. So I like what I'm seeing from Denver, and they're 1 game behind Kansas City for the division lead in the AFC West. So yeah, Denver at 8.
All right. At 7, they lost on Monday night, but I'm not moving them. I got the Dolphins at 7.
I have the Dolphins at 7, moving 3.
So I mean, the reason I didn't move them is they have elite weapons. They're the number 2 seed. I still think they're better than all these other teams listed before them. They haven't beaten a good team, which scares me. But do I think they can? Would I be surprised if they played the Chiefs in the playoffs and beat them? Not at all. I'm waiting for it. So the Dolphins at 7 for me.
Yeah, I have them at 7 as well. I moved them down 3 spots. Disappointing loss to a Tennessee Titans team that they should have handled. But, they have playmakers all over the place. Tyreek got injured, so it does have an impact on the game. But I want to see Tua be able to do it without Tyreek Hill. Like, Tyreek can't be his only, receiver that makes everything, happen for the offense. So, a little alarming. But, yeah, Miami's still a top-tier team, moving down 3 to 7.
All right, at 6, this is where I have the Lions. Nervous for them. They have not played good last 3 weeks, even though they got a win in one of them. They need to play better. They really do, because this could be a one-hit wonder. And I don't, I root for the Lions just because they've been historically bad. Jared Goff needs to play better. Offensive line needs to play better. Defense really needs to play better. They need to get back to their, early season form. And again, it's like every team goes through it. You want your lulls in the beginning of the season. They started out hot. So I think this is their lull, and they'll get back on track.
I hope so. 6 for me. This is where I have Kansas City. I have them staying put. They very well could have won the game if it wasn't for a penalty. But honestly, I should probably move them down more for Patrick Mahomes crying the way he did. But yeah, Kansas City, still a good defense. Offense definitely doesn't scare me this year, unless you're the Chargers, because that's like the best offensive performance they've had. But yeah, man, like honestly, Chiefs are not scary in my opinion for like the playoff picture or a Super Bowl. The defense is the best part of this team right now. So Kansas City staying put at 6.
I have them at 5 staying put, and I'm going to have to disagree. I think the defense is nice. I don't think it's elite. I just think it's a good stopping. Like, it's a defense that's going to be able to stop you. Where it scares me is Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the league. I mean, yeah, it's been tough, with his receivers, but how many times have we seen this with Tom Brady? How many times have we seen this with Patrick Mahomes already? Like, it happens, and then that, like, champion DNA just clicks, and they just start winning. And like I said, like, would I be surprised if the Chiefs go on a run and made it and won a Super Bowl again? Not at all.
No.
Would it be annoying and impressive? Yes, but I would not be surprised because they have the best quarterback in the league. That is why they're still in the top 5 for me.
All right. 5 for me. This is the hottest take I have of this week. I have Cincinnati, and with a backup quarterback.
Wow. All right.
The only reason I felt comfortable enough to do this is they've beaten back-to-back playoff caliber teams with a backup quarterback. They still have Jamar Chase. They still have T. Higgins. They still have Joe Mixon. Chase Brown's kind of emerging. The defense has been playing better. Tyler Boyd can get utilized a little bit here and there. I'm not saying Jake Browning's the answer to like take him to the playoffs. He's nothing like Joe Burrow, but other than the first week that he had to come in and start, he's looked decent. Like he's looked like kind of like Josh Dobbs did when he first came to Minnesota or when he was with Arizona. Like he looks like he can win you games, and you still have wide receiver talent that probably is tied for best in the NFL at this point in time with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So it would not surprise me if the Cincinnati Bengals actually snuck in to the playoffs this year. And I like the way that they've been playing. They beat the Colts. They beat the Jags, 2 teams that I consider playoff teams. So if they can do that with a backup quarterback, who knows? Maybe watch out for the Bengals still.
Yeah, very hot take. I don't agree with it. I mean, it would be cool. I mean, could you imagine if the Bengals won a Super Bowl with Jake Browning?
And Joe Burrow didn't even consider. Dude, it's like Big Dick Nick 2.0 with Carson Wentz out. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. The only difference is this dude played in the regular season. Like Nick Foles started like at the end of the beginning of the playoffs. Like
he started for playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say Jake Browning's played really well, but I just need to pump the brakes a little bit. But
who do the Bengals play next?
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna look that up.
It. All right, I'll go on to my number 4. Number 4, still a great team. Good team. Still a good team. They've been reeling, though, these last 2 weeks. I got the Eagles dropping 2 spots.
I have the Eagles at 4 as well.
All right. Yeah, man, I mean, they have not looked good these last 2 weeks.
Nope.
Granted, they have had a brutal schedule these last 5 weeks. They're beat up. They're tired. Yada, yada, yada. You got to find ways to win. If you're a good team, you find ways to win. I mean, yeah, They just don't look the same. I still think they're a good team. I still think, would I be surprised if they made it to the Super Bowl? No. But they need to fix some things because they have not looked good. So Eagles at 4.
I agree with everything you just said. Eagles at 4. Moving down 2 for me as well.
All right. Number 3, staying put. I have the Baltimore Ravens.
I have Baltimore at 3 as well.
All right.
So that means we probably have the same 2 and 1. Dallas and then 49ers.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So Ravens, yeah, it was a tight one, but I still think they're a good team. They have a great quarterback, great defense, really good run game. Cowboys, they proved that they're one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
They're the second best team in the NFL. They beat the Eagles.
Handedly, too.
Yeah, handily.
They whooped them.
Yeah. And then the 49ers, been saying it, they're the best team. They're the best team in the NFL. When healthy, they are the best team in the NFL.
Agreed.
There's no question there's no doubt in my mind about that one.
Agreed. One thing that I want to say, touching on Dallas and then San Francisco, is I'm excited to see the matchup in playoffs between these two teams. I feel like they will play each other because Dallas, when they played the 49ers at the beginning of the season, they got cream pied. Let's be real. But Dak has definitely looked a lot better at the second half of this season. So I hope that it's a more exciting game if they do play. Like, I hope that it's more of a back and forward affair.
Yeah, I definitely don't see the 49ers blowing them out again. I agree with you. I think if the Eagles and the Cowboys play again, well, actually, this is what I said earlier. I think that if the Eagles and Cowboys play again, I think the Cowboys win. I think they're a better team. And then that means the 49ers and the Cowboys are going to play again, probably in the NFC Championship if everything goes well. It's going to be a different game. But hopefully it's going to be in San Francisco. That's going to be huge. But the 49ers have had their number, so it will
they have.
It will be an interesting matchup. I don't see it, 42-10. Like, that's not going to happen. If it does, holy fuck, watch out. But that's our power rankings.
Yep. Guys, so that means we are on to our last segment of the episode. Bear with us. I know that we are over an hour and a half already. But guys, so the last segment that we have is our Week 15 predictions. We will skip Thursday night so we can spare you guys some time because it is a doozy of a game. So we'll just go to Sunday morning.
Are you joking?
Yeah, I'm joking. Thursday night, we have the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to the Las Vegas Raiders. Give me the Raiders. Easton Stick and this banged up Chargers team is not going to do anything. Give me the Raiders.
Wow,
Chargers haven't won in Vegas in a while either, so yeah, give me the Raiders.
You know what? I'm going to disagree with you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I
want the Chargers to lose out for a good draft capital now. And I know what people say, like, I hate when people tank, but it's like, fuck you. This team needs to rebuild from the ground up at this point. I need draft capital for this team.
I mean, the Raiders might be without Josh Jacobs, and Aiden O'Connell has not looked the greatest.
Yeah, but he's going up against Easton Stick.
You know what? I'll go with the Raiders too. Yeah, just for you, Dane.
Thanks. Against my team.
All right, let's go on. That game's gonna be awesome. All
I
right.
can't wait.
We got our first Saturday games of the season.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I love Saturday games, honestly, because it means we get football more days out of the year.
Woo! More sitting on the couch doing nothing. Woo! No, I'm just playing.
And they're actually pretty good games. Like, the matchups are actually really entertaining and exciting, actually, I think.
Yeah, so do I. All 4 teams are 7-6. I think the other one's more entertaining than this one, though.
Oh, there's 3 Saturday games.
Holy shit, there is.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. All right, let's get with the first one. Cincinnati Bengals are taking on the Minnesota Vikings in Cincinnati. I'm going to take the Bengals. They have a quarterback. That's all I can say.
I'm going to go Bengals as well, especially because I think Justin Jefferson's going to miss this game as well. And if Nick Mullins is starting, I think the Cincinnati Bengals at home is going to be too much for him. Plus, the Bengals still have all of their weapons minus the quarterback. So, yeah, give me the Bengals.
All right. Next game, another 7-6 teams fighting each other. This one's going to be detrimental or very important to the playoff race. We got the Colts at home facing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who do you got, Dane?
Give me the Colts. I went against the Colts last week, and I was right, but I trust Gardner Minshew way more than I trust Mitch Trubisky. It's in Indianapolis. I think that the Colts offense will be able to get enough going against the Steelers defense. You just got to make sure Michael Pittman gets going. Zach Moss has to have a bounce back performance. Zach Moss at the beginning of the year was great. I think he can get back to that form, honestly. I'm going to go Indy. I trust them. I think the defense can do enough against a Mitchell Trubisky-led offense for the Steelers.
This one's pretty tough. I almost want to go Pittsburgh, but then you brought up Mitch Trubisky. And the Colts have a good defense. So, yeah, I'm going to go Colts as well.
Okay.
All right, next game is going to be a good one. We got the Denver Broncos traveling to the Detroit Lions.
Oh, man.
This one is tough. Man.
This one's really tough because which Detroit Lions team are we going to get? Are we going to get the Detroit Lions the last month? Or are we going to get the Detroit Lions that we had 3/4 of the year so far, or half of the year so far, because a month is a quarter. So,
and you know what sucks? If you have any Detroit players, they're going up against the Broncos defense, which has been really good the last, ever since they got blown out. And it's the first week of playoffs. So for fantasy. So good luck to you if you have any Detroit players. But back to the game. Yeah, man. I mean, I really want to go with the Broncos here. But the Detroit Lions have got to turn it around sometime. Sometime they have to turn it around. If they don't win this one, I will be very worried for them. So reluctantly,
I think Dan Campbell can turn this ship around. I genuinely do. He has turned this organization around since he's been in Detroit. It wasn't pretty his first year. His second year, he almost made playoffs, but he made sure that he took the Green Bay Packers down with him and prevented them from going, made him an instant hero. And then this year, he started off super hot. Rocky last month, but it's the last quarter of the year. You have 4 games left until playoffs. I think he can right the ship. I think it's at home. I'm going Detroit. I think they can get it done.
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm going to go Detroit as well. They have to right the ship here. Right here, right now. So, Detroit.
Okay.
All right, let's get back to the regular Sunday matchups. Division matchup. All right, we got the New York Jets traveling to the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Dolphins here. I still don't trust the Jets, so
yeah, I'm gonna go Dolphins as well. I mean, the last time they played, Miami beat them 34-13 in New York. This time it's in Miami. Miami's coming off a tough loss. New York's coming off a good win. I think it'll be more competitive, especially because Zach Wilson's actually playing this game, and that's kind of weird to say, but Tim Boyle I think is way worse. Yes. So I think that the Jets. I think it'll be more competitive. I think it'll be a lot better game, but I'm still going to go Dolphins.
All right, another division matchup. We got the Houston Texans traveling to the Tennessee Titans.
This one's actually a lot tougher now.
Yeah, if CJ Stroud is out, I would go Texans. Even if Titans? He's in, or no. If CJ, oh yeah, sorry, yes. If CJ Stroud is out, I'm going Titans, and I even might go Titans regardless. They're just a tough team. They are a tough team. They play gritty games. So I'm going to bank on the fact that CJ Stroud is going to be out, and I'm going to go Titans here.
Yeah, I'm going to go Titans at home as well. Houston is really banged up right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they had, since the beginning, like they were dealing with offensive line injuries. Now they're dealing with receiver injuries, quarterback injuries. So I'm going to go Titans.
All right. Next game, we got the Tampa Bay Bucks facing the Green Bay Packers, both 6-7. Again, this is another vital win or game for the playoff race.
Last time they played, it was a total score of 14-12 in 2022.
Woo! Completely different quarterbacks, though.
Yeah, true.
Actually, not really completely different teams.
Oh,
but
I'm going Packers. It's in Lambeau again. It's going to be cold. It's going to be very cold. Packers are coming off an ugly loss to New York. But I definitely think, yeah, I'm going Green Bay. I'm going mostly because of the weather. I think it definitely benefits them being in the cold. I definitely think that Aaron Jones will be back. I think it'll help the offense. I don't know if Christian Watson will be back, but if Christian Watson is back, then it'll also help this offense. So I'm going to go Green Bay on like contingencies that Aaron Jones and Christian Watson are back.
Yeah, I'm going to go Green Bay as well. I do want to go the Bucks, but I think it's me wanting the Bucks to win more than who I think.
I would prefer the Bucks to win, but I think Green Bay is going to win this one.
Yeah, give me Green Bay. All right. Next matchup. Ooh, fun. We got the Giants traveling to the New Orleans Saints.
Dude, honestly, with the way the Giants have been playing and the way the Saints have been playing, I might take the Giants here.
Would I be surprised if they lost or if they beat the Saints? No. The Saints, well, let's be honest, they should beat the Giants. They have the weapons. They have a veteran quarterback who started for however long Derek Carr's been in the league, 10 years. I'm going to go with the safe pick. I'm just going to go Saints here, but I have zero confidence in them.
I'm going to go Giants. I'm going to disagree. I think the Giants are hot. New Orleans is not. Derek Carr came out, kind of said he's been dealing with like fractured ribs or like rib injuries, a couple that he didn't mention before. They're also just dealing with injuries on the offensive side of the ball. And, fuck it. Tommy DeVito, baby. Give me more.
All right, next game. We got the Atlanta Falcons traveling to the Carolina Panthers. Give me the Falcons.
Yeah, give me the Falcons. I mean, Carolina is probably going to try and win one more game. They're going to try their best to beat someone because I feel like they're definitely irritated at the fact that Chicago has the first overall pick because they're doing so bad. So it makes their organization look even worse. But yeah, I'm gonna go Atlanta. Atlanta's just a better team.
Yeah, it's their own dumbass fault. All right, Chicago Bears traveling to the Cleveland Browns. Damn.
This one's not as easy as I think people might think it is.
No, I don't think so.
Especially with the way Chicago's been playing. I'm going to go Browns, though. As much as I like the way Chicago's defense has been playing, I still worry about Justin Fields against this defense. Cleveland's defense is no joke. Justin Fields does take a little bit longer to process things. I think Cleveland's defense could have a day. So give me Cleveland.
Yeah, give me Cleveland. Almost wanted to take the Bears here.
Yeah, I was thinking about it too. I think the Bears are better than we give them credit. I think they're better than their record indicates, honestly.
I wouldn't say that. I just think they've been playing better.
which is why I think they're better than their record indicates.
No, I still think they're like a 5-win team, 5-6-win team. I don't think they're good. Here's the thing, like I think their defense has improved. I don't think it's elite. I don't think it's top 10.
I'm not saying it's elite
like
by any means.
Yeah, and I think it's good. I don't know. And then like everything you just said about Justin Fields, like he still has problems reading defenses. His athletic ability is amazing, but sometimes that can only take you so far. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna go Browns here.
Okay.
All right, next game. We got the Commanders at the Los Angeles Rams. Give me the Rams.
Give me the Rams as well. If the Rams lose this one, I will be so mad for you, Dad.
All right, this one's a very good one. We got the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Buffalo Bills.
This is going to be a good one.
And I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'm taking the Bills here. I think they're desperate. They're desperate. They need this win. They might be able to afford one more loss, but I think the Bills can beat the Cowboys.
I think the Bills
really do.
I definitely think the Bills can beat the Cowboys. I really do, especially because it's in home. The weather's going to be on their side. Stadium's going to be on their side. Like you said, the backs are against the wall. But you also have to take into account the Cowboys are also playing for a lot as well. Like they're playing for a number one seed potentially. And they're also playing for possibly the division lead over the Eagles. I like the way the Cowboys have been playing. Even though it's going to be cold, there might be snow. I'm going to go Cowboys. I think that I've really liked what I've seen from Dak recently. I think the defense is still doing enough to give Josh Allen problems. Yeah, give me the Cowboys. I think that'll be a fun game to watch, though.
Oh, it 100% will be. I think it might be the game of the week. Unlike this other one, we got the sorry about that. We got the 49ers traveling to the Arizona Cardinals. Give me the 49ers. The Cardinals will make this tough. They're the Cardinals. And unfortunately we don't get to see Talanoa Hufanga versus James Conner hash it out on the field for James Conner being a little bitch. But no, I think the Cardinals make it tough, maybe keep it close for a couple quarters, but 49ers are going to pull away. So, yeah, give me 49ers.
Yeah, give me the 49ers as well. I like the scrappiness of the Cardinals, but 49ers are the best team in the NFL. And it will not be snowing in Buffalo, according to my weather app. That's interesting.
All right. This one should be interesting. Sunday night, we got the Baltimore Ravens traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to be healthy. He's got to play better than he did last week, and he's playing a good defense.
I'm going to go Baltimore.
Yeah.
Just with the way that Baltimore's been playing, I know that they had a close one against the Rams, but I think that's a testament to how good the Rams actually are. Granted, even though their record doesn't indicate it, but I think the Ravens still have a top tier defense and a top tier offense. When OBJ is going, when Zay Flowers is going, when Mark Andrews is out there, even though he's not going to be out there, this offense is great. They got the rushing attack. Lamar looks great. So yeah, give me the Ravens.
Sorry, guys. I missed one of the early slate games. It's not going to be too much of a pick, but...
Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs. They're playing the Patriots.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
All right. And Monday night, we got the Philadelphia...
I think this is a good one, actually.
I do, too. I don't think...
Especially with the way the Eagles have been playing recently.
Yeah. And, the Seahawks have been playing... Actually, the last 2 weeks, they've been playing good. They just haven't been winning. But the Philadelphia Eagles are playing the Seahawks in Seattle. I really want Seattle to win, which is weird to say. I just don't really see a way they do it. I think this is a get-right game for the Eagles, in all honesty.
Yeah, I agree as well. But I think this is actually going to be a pretty high-scoring affair just because the Eagles' defense is pretty bad, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not pretty. So, yeah, I'm probably going to go Eagles, but I think it'll be a close one.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. All right, and that is all of them, I believe. Yep, that is all the games for Week 15. No buys, so thank God for fantasy. But yeah, let's close this out, Dan.
All right, guys, that is going to do it. We made it under the 2-hour mark. You're welcome if you are even listening to this. I doubt anyone is, but guys, thank you so much. Follow us on our Instagram here. Like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. Anything you can to do to help the podcast grow, we'd greatly appreciate.
Yep, thanks for listening. As always, peace.